We learned that when we have, and this is a recap. This is a recap. This is actually a shortcut for those of you who already saw the multiplication. What happens when I have a 3/4 and I'm multiplying it by 4 out of 8? It's very simple, right, boys and girls? We just multiply across. Multiply across. And we are going to multiply 3 times 4, which equals to 12. Thank you. And then we have, of course, 4 times 8. 4 times 8, which equals to 32. Can we simplify in this case right here? Yes, we actually can, correct? We can simplify it by which multiples? Using what? 6? Does 6 go into 32? Does anybody know? I don't think so. 4 does, right? We could divide it by 4, which equals to 3. Divide the bottom one by 4, which equals to what? Thank you, 8. And that's it, right? I cannot make it any less smaller. I can't. That's my answer. After I simplified. Very good. So that's multiplying fractions. Well, division is literally the same thing, but it has one extra step. Just watch real quick. I have to show you. I'm going to use the same numbers here. 3/4, all you do. And I'm going to divide. This time, look at my symbol. I'm dividing 4 over 8. Okay. Whenever I divide, you must do a KCF. A lot of you remember that strategy. Well, Mr. Lopez doesn't use KCF. I use, watch. I use, look at the Jamboard, please. Look at the Jamboard or my screen. I use K, C, R. So why is Mr. Lopez mentioning an R instead of an F? What was that? The R, boys and girls, stands for, who's talking over there? So loud. Recipe, no. Close, but no. Reciprocal. So that it has a name. Remember we said that everything has a name? Well, the name for this is not a flip. I mean, they use that to help elementary students understand what's happening. Yeah, elementary, because that's when they teach it. They tell you, oh, by the way, you do KCF, which is you flip it. And then all of a sudden elementary students are like, oh, I get it. But that's not the word, you see, and that hurts you because you don't know what it is, and you should by now. The correct way to say flip the number upside down or flip it over is you find the reciprocal. You will hear this down the road in other school years. So let's get used to it right now. Tell your neighbors the word reciprocal. Tell your other neighbor. Tell Mr. Lopez over here. Okay, now let's see what it does. Let's see what this word actually does. Look at my screen. I'm going to rewrite this 4 over 8 into 8 over 4. Okay, and I'm going to just cross it out because I need your brains to understand that we're no longer using this. We're no longer using 4 over 8. We did the reciprocal, which is 8 over 4. For those of you who are still confused about what reciprocal is, all we did was flip it. We just flipped it. That's just the proper name for flip. And now, this is my new setup. Well, guess what? I also changed the division to what? To multiplication. So for those of you who find this confusing, it's time I clean it up. I'm going to rewrite it again into 3/4. 3/4 times, because I changed the symbol, and I did the reciprocal of 4 out of 8, and it became what? 8 out of 4. Now I multiply across. Do I need to write the numbers at the top for you, or do you get the point by now? You got the point? Okay. So 3 times 8 equals, yeah, 16? Somebody said 16. Oh, thank you, guys. Panchos, Chihuahuas, 24. Hey, man, whatever you tell me, I will write it here. 24 out of, what is 4 times 4? 16. Uh-oh, is my numerator greater than my denominator? We have an improper fraction. Thank you for using vocabulary. Improper fraction. Can I do something about this? I most certainly can. So here's the next thing that I'm going to give you an advice on. You have 2 choices here. 1, change it into a mixed number, or 2, you simplify. It all depends on your answer choices on the test. You could do both, right? You could legit do both. You could simplify it, or you could write it as a mixed number. Any questions on that? No? Very good. The way to make it into a mixed number is the following. There's 2 ways. Watch this. 24, this is what I like to do. I like to take away 16 from the top number. Listen again. I like to take away the denominator from the top number, because it only takes 16 on your numerator to make one whole, right? I only need 16 out of 16 to make one whole. Does that make sense? So I'm only going to take away 16 from 24, because that I know that's going to give me at least one whole. So what's 24 minus 16? Well, 14 for your bottom, you got to borrow. 14 minus 6, 8. And that's it, right? You get a leftover of, at the top, I have 16. Can I make another whole number with the 8? No, and you made one whole, right? I don't know. Yeah, did you see what I did there, guys? I just took away 16, the denominator, from the top, because every time I take away 16 from it, I make one whole. So listen again. So listen again. What is my top number in this case? Look at my mouse. What is the top number? 20. Is that greater than 16? Yeah, it is, right? Automatically, you should know this in your brain. You should know that it only takes 16 out of 16 to make what? One whole. Okay? I don't have 16. I actually have how many? 24. So if I take away 16 from the 24 that I originally have, I can make already one whole, which is what I did. I took away 16 from the 24. Like from the 24, I was like, hey, thank you. I'm going to get 16. I made one whole. And what did I get left over? What is 24 minus 16? 8. That's what I had left over. That's why at the top is only 8. That's why I have one whole and 8 out of 16. Does that mean that I finished, or can I simplify the 8 out of the 16? What? Yes, I can, because 8 is actually half of what? 16. So automatically in your heads. No, guys, you're missing the point. What happens if your numerator, and I taught you this trick, what happens if your numerator is legit? It's literally half of the numerator of the denominator. What happens if it's half? Automatically. So what does 8 out of 16 convert into? 1/2. For those of you who are confused, watch this real quick. Hey, for those of you that are confused, watch this real quick. I had one whole. I flipped over, by the way, to page 5. Flipped over to page 5 in case you're following. So if I have one whole and 8 out of 16, 8 out of 8 is half of what? 16. So if I were to divide this, if I were to divide it by 8. What would I get? 1 over 2. So instead of doing the math, that's why I shared with you this strategy, that every time that the numerator is half of the denominator, you automatically are going to get a 1 over 2 or half. Hey, but don't forget about who? Don't forget the whole number. That one does not change. That one stays 1. Or if you did not simplify, what is it going to be? 8 out of 16. So they both mean the same thing. But your answer choices, guys, in 6th grade, come on, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you the half. Ya me cansé de hablar. Ya, what's up? Oh, what happened with the proper fraction? Yes, great question. Sir, what if you have 18 over 4, and we're going to divide 16 over 2. What is the strategy that we use, guys? To divide. No, to divide. What strategy did I just teach you? K, C, R. What does the R stand for? Reciprocal. What does the R stand for? And I'm going to write down the name over there in your word wall on the back. Don't worry. I'm going to write it in the back so you can see it. Okay. Can somebody tell me what my new fraction is? So 18 over 4, I'm going to change the division to multiplication times what? 2 out of 16. Guys, all I did was flip it. 16 over, I just did, all I did was flip it. And then I multiply across, right? Then I multiply across. That's it. That's all you do.